Okay, hello, this is Paul from BabelTEQ, and in this video I'm going to show you the booking calendar, which you can use to accept bookings for lessons, for example, for trial lessons, or if you're selling individual lesson times, you can do it that way. Or if you, for example, sell a block of lessons, um, let's say 10 lessons, and you can set up the booking calendar so that the student can book some or all of those block of lessons. So before we dive into it, let's just see what I'm talking about here. Um, so if we look at my pages, let's go to the lesson booking page. That's that one. Okay, so this is just a test site. So Carol English. So on this page, there's you can see here that there's a functional booking calendar. So if somebody wants to book a lesson, they just click on the date and they choose a time that they want, and they go through it like this. For example, this particular page is configured to show a booking form for a trial class. So the visitor would enter their details here, confirm, and then that would set up the booking, because there's no payment required for this one. It's a free trial class. You could set up a payment requirement for it if you wanted, though. For example, if you wanted to charge, say, I don't know, $10 for a trial lesson, something like that, you can also connect this with an extra step, which is the payment form, and visitors can then pay by credit card when they book their lesson. Also, there's a pop-up which does the same thing on here, and also another one down here. So yeah, so that's what we mean by a booking form. So let's take a look on the dashboard. If I come back to the dashboard page, you'll want to come over here to bookings, and let's just take a look at that. So the dashboard, for the bookings dashboard, I should say, looks like this. So this is basically just an analytical data. It's not showing much at the moment because there are no bookings for this particular site, but when you do get some bookings happening, it'll show you how many have been booked and approved. The percentage load means like what percentage of your available time has been booked, and you'll also get some stats on revenue. We can see here that there's only one employee set up for this site. You can add more employees, and you'll see any upcoming bookings in this section here. And there's just some more analytical detail down the bottom there. One point which I want to make is just bear in mind that you need to set the range, set the calendar range when you're looking at any of this data. So, for example, this is set up for 1st of October 2020 to 31st of March 2021. So I might want to change that to, I don't know, let's say November 30th, April 30th of April next year. So yeah, so that could potentially change the appearance of this page depending on what the calendar range is that you set. We can also look at your appointments on this dedicated calendar page, so you can choose whether you want to look at your upcoming appointments by month, week, day in list view, or timeline view. I think timeline's just the like a horizontal view. Might be useful in some cases. I think month month view is probably going to be the most popular one for most instructors. We can see this is highlighted because this is the current day as I'm recording this video. We can look at the calendar for all employees, but we've only got one employee anyway, which is Carol here. So, but if you had more teachers, if there were more instructors on this site, which you can do, then you could add them as additional instructors as well. So you could look at like a combined calendar view or individual calendar view. What we might do is take a look at the next one, which is appointments. And again, there's nothing in here because we don't have any appointments. You can manually add an appointment in. Let's say, for example, somebody emails you or contacts you via Messenger or something, and they say, "Hey, I'd like to take a trial lesson. Can you put one into your calendar for me?" You can do that manually through here. So you can add in a new appointment. Events, yeah, events. I'm not sure if this is something that a lot of people will use, but it could be useful for something like a webinar. If you're setting up a webinar and you want to have like multiple people attend the webinar, maybe multiple presenters in the webinar. Let's say, for example, if this website services say 3 instructors, and you'd like all 3 instructors to be present in the webinar, you could set it up this way so that this blocks out that time on everyone's respective calendar. Again, I'm not sure how popular this particular feature is, but it's here, something to be aware of. Employees. So as I said, we've got just the one employee. If you want to add additional employees, you can click on here and add the extra details about additional employees. If we take a look at the profile for this default employee, Carol, so you can see here I've uploaded a profile image for her. There's name, last name, email address. You shouldn't need to include them as a WordPress user. Probably don't need a phone number. I think that what we have on this page is probably all that you need to set up an employee, or set up yourself as an employee. What you could even do is just edit the information that's currently there. Like, for example, replace this with your profile photo, replace this with your name, your email address, and so on. Services, assigned services. We'll talk more about services in just a minute, but you can see that she's enabled to teach these types of lessons. So she can teach a trial class. She can teach a one-to-one lesson. This is like the individual lessons that I mentioned earlier. If you're selling like one lesson at a time, that's set up as a dedicated service type. And she could also teach lessons as part of a course, like a 10-week course. So the reason why there's 0 value next to here for the 10-week course is because when the student pays for that course, they don't actually pay through the booking system as such. They'll pay through a payment form. If you take a look, we might take a look at that together now. Let's say, for example, if we go to this page, the start a course page, right? So when they're booking the course, then they would fill out this payment form here, and you would receive the money that way. After they complete this form, they get directed to a thank you page, and on the thank you page, there is this booking form. There's this lesson booking form. So you've already received the money, so we're not charging extra money as we accept the bookings. That's maybe a little bit of a complicated way to say that. That's why this is 0. What else we got here? So working hours, yes. So you can set up a working calendar on an employee by employee basis. These are the times that that Carol is open. You can edit any of these times. Um, Days off. I think the best way of describing this days off feature is um, you can use this to put in like public holidays when you don't want to be working. So they're called company days off, but in reality, I think you could put in public holidays, assuming that you don't want to work public holidays. It's up to you, of course. And special days, I think special day is similar to days off, but I think this is maybe, for example, if you've got a couple of teachers who are working for you as employees and they want to take some vacation time, then you could block out their schedule using this special days feature. Um, so I think that it's a good way of managing everyone's calendars, because once you set up the availability, the regular availability week to week, then you don't have to mess with that too much. You can just block days as they occur using the days off feature or special days feature. So yes, so that's the employees. Now services are the essentially types of lessons that you're providing. So these are all under the category of exam preparation classes. If you had other categories like I don't know, like business English or maybe kids English, for preschoolers or something, it would probably make sense to add these as additional categories. Um, and as we have a category, we have three services underneath this category. So we have the trial class, we have the one-to-one lesson um, class, and we have the 10-week course exam prep class. So let's say, for example, if I click on this one, it'll give me some configuration options. So this is configured such that the class is 50 minutes. And when I say class, I mean that 50 minutes includes the trial lesson itself plus the consultation if you want to do it that way. So in other words, it just blocks out that 50 minutes on your calendar to do everything that you need to do when you're offering a trial class and a strategy session with a new student. Because this is a free trial, we've got the price here as $0. This buffer time after 10 minutes, so that means that you've got 10 minutes after the class before the next available slot on your calendar. So no one can book a lesson immediately after you. So that's 50 minutes plus 10 minutes makes up the full hour. We've got here minimum capacity, maximum capacity. So if you only want to do one-to-one trial lessons, then you would set the maximum capacity at 1. If I don't know, if you had like a class where you wanted to do a trial lesson for say 2 students as like a trial group class, then of course you could increase the maximum capacity here up to 2 or 3 or whatever. Show service on the site, yes, we always want to do that. And set recurring appointments disabled. So this is in the case of where you want a student to be able to book a lesson and potentially book that same time on a recurring basis, week to week, at the same time each week. You could do that. In this case, it's a trial lesson, so it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But in the next service that we look at, one-to-one lessons, you'll see what I mean. So let's in fact do that now. One-to-one lesson. Yes, so we've set this as a weekly recurring appointment. So by default, if somebody wants to book multiples of a lesson, then they could choose. Then you would choose this option, and then when the student on the front facing web page books their first lesson, it will ask them, do you want to also book this as a recurring lesson? And then in which case they can choose like how many weeks in the future, how many weeks into the future they want to book a recurring lesson. So they might decide to book the next 6 weeks at the same time each week, and then pay for it at once. So that's a really useful feature, I think. And also, which another feature that I think is really useful is the system will try to find the closest available time if the requested repeat booking time is already busy. So if somebody wants to book, say, a lesson at 8 o'clock every Wednesday night for the next 6 weeks, but 2 weeks from now you happen to be busy at 8 o'clock, the system will find the next most convenient time, and the student has the opportunity to either confirm that and accept it, or choose another time, or just cancel for that particular week. So that's a handy feature. Um, so you can choose whether or not to have customers pay for all of these appointments at once, and I think that's probably a good idea. Um, or you could ask them to just pay for the first one, and then you work out some other kind of billing arrangement for the others. But I think that gets a bit messy, so I would recommend that you have them pay for all of these appointments at once. Yeah, and the 10-week course. So if you're selling a block of lessons, then this enables them to go through and choose those times that they want for each of the 10 weeks. So it's basically the same as the one-to-one lesson, except that we're not charging any price here because we've already collected that money through the course booking form. Okay, so that's services. Locations, I don't think you really want to worry too much about that if you are an online instructor. If you also are doing maybe some like face-to-face, like as in like bricks and mortar type lessons, let's say maybe you've got a school um, where some of your lessons are online, some of your lessons are face-to-face in a classroom, then it might make sense to allow students to book locations as well. Um, but I think, well, maybe even you could set it up to have like various coffee shops, I suppose, if that's where you're doing private lessons, if you don't have your own classroom. So that might be another way to do that. I suspect that most people who have one of these sites um, won't need to worry too much about locations, though, since we're operating virtually. Um, Customers. So this page has some customer information. So here we've got a couple of trial customers: John Locke, John Snow. So let's take a look. So here, yeah, so here we got the first name, last name, contact information of each customer. You can add notes about the customer if you like, if you want to use this as a bit of a CRM, customer relations management tool. The phone number is optional, but potentially you can use that to send out lesson reminders by SMS, and we'll look at that in a minute. Let's take a look at payments. So we don't have any payments recorded on the system at the moment, but if you did receive them, they would show up here and show how the payments were made. For example, via credit card or manual payment, maybe in some cases if they pay you by bank transfer. You can set up coupons if you want to create like a coupon code, like you want to enter a code here, 10 off, for example, as in the digits and the letters 10 OFF. So you could create a coupon code here. You can set the discount as either a percentage deduction or as a absolute dollar amount. You could decide how many times this coupon code can be used, how many times each customer is allowed to use it, whether it's like one per customer or multiple per customer. You can choose which of your services they can use this coupon against. So you might want to give them a coupon, let's say for the 10-week course, but not give a discount coupon for the single lesson booking. So that would make a lot of sense to offer something like that. Yeah, I'm not too sure about how we would use notifications for coupons yet, but anyway, that's the payment side of things. Let's talk about notifications. So yes, so you can see here that we have email notifications and SMS notifications. Now, in order to use the SMS notifications, you need to create an SMS account because it's not free to send SMS messages, of course, but you can create an account through a phone provider and put a prepaid amount in there, like say $10 or something like that. And then Amelia, this is the plugin we're using, Amelia will send a reminder message to the student before a lesson booking. I believe that well, I guess it depends on the phone provider, but the charge for sending each reminder is something like 1 or 2 cents per message. So it's not a whole lot of money. But if you're content to just send email notifications, so we have all of these different types of notifications that we can send out. We can send out an appointment approved if you've set this up in such a way that the lesson is automatically approved, or if you've configured it such that a lesson booking needs to be approved manually, then you would want to send them this message, which is the appointment pending. If you need to cancel their booking for some reason, you can send an appointment rejected message. Now, the student themselves has the ability to cancel a lesson booking or reschedule a lesson booking. And as they do so, they will receive an appointment cancelled or appointment rescheduled notification. This is the reminder message that I talked about. So they should get this email reminder the day before the lesson that they booked. You'll notice in here that we're using these placeholders, these percentage signs with text between them. These are like code placeholders, which means that this will automatically generate a Zoom URL link for this particular customer, and they will get this email with the Zoom link already embedded. So at the time of their lesson, they just have to click on the link, and it will open up a Zoom meeting for them. So I think that's quite a cool feature. You do need to set up your Zoom account with this plugin, the Amelia plugin, and there is some documentation on how to do that if you are going to use Zoom. And but it's not too difficult, and I think it's a big time saver. Appointment follow-up. I'm not sure how many people are going to use this, but I think it's also a nice feature. And this is something that you could configure to send to the student after you've had the lesson. Maybe, for example, on a trial lesson, you might use this to push out a follow-up email to say something like, "Hey, I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Do you need more information, or would you be interested in booking a paid lesson?" Something like that. So you can configure this type of email any way you like. And there's some notifications here for events, which I'm not going to go through. Birthday greetings, yes, could be an interesting one to send out when it's someone's birthday, when it's a student's birthday. And this customer panel access. So when someone becomes a customer on your site, they will receive this this customer panel access link, which gives them a link to a page where they can log in and see what bookings they've got coming up, what bookings they've had in the past, all that type of detail. So we don't need to actually create an account as such for each customer. They will have like a encrypted link that they can just click on, and that takes them to the page. So they don't need to remember like login passwords and login names and that sort of thing. So it's much simpler than most systems. And you can set up notifications for employees as well. If there's only one of you, if it's only your store, of course, then that's probably a non-issue. Let's take a look at customize. So we can also adjust the colors according to our branding. So here we've set the primary color as green. You can create a bit of a gradient effect here. Let's see. Let's pick something like that, for example. Oh, I have to click OK. Okay, and you can see now I've got this kind of funky green and gold gradient, so that's maybe not to everyone's taste, but you can do with that as you like. Yes, so we've got a choice of a couple of different fonts. I think in the future, this plugin Amelia, they'll be releasing maybe some more font choices as well besides those two. So yeah, that's basically how to customize the booking calendar. Settings. Okay, so there's quite a few things on this settings panel. So I don't think I'm going to go into all of these right now because there's quite a lot, but I think the defaults that that are already set up for you are probably good enough to get started. We might take a look at payment settings though. Yeah, so you can see here that the payment settings are set up for US dollars as a default. You can choose other currencies if you wish. The default payment method I've set up here as Stripe. We've got coupons enabled. This send me an invoice. So this option means that when students come to the payment form, they can choose to either pay immediately with their credit card, or they can request you to send them an invoice. And that could be very handy in the case of, for example, if you want them to pay by bank transfer, like let's say using TransferWise or Payoneer or some other bank transfer system. Also, if you have a Stripe account and your customer um, uh, maybe doesn't have an accepted credit card, you can send them a manual invoice from your Stripe dashboard. That could be very handy for, say, a case of someone who's a customer in China. You can send them a manual invoice from your Stripe dashboard and uh, allow them to pay using Alipay, which is a very popular payment system over there. I believe that Stripe is going to add WeChat Pay soon as well, which would be also a very popular way for them to pay. So, yep. So by default, so we've got those payment options. We've got Stripe, we've got Send Me an Invoice, and you can also enable PayPal. Okay, so those are the payment settings. Yeah, so I think that's maybe enough of an overview of the booking system. So if you have any questions about anything that I've presented or anything that I haven't covered, then feel free to reach out and ask, and also check the support documentation We'll have some video tutorials and FAQ pages that will answer a lot of your queries, I hope. So thank you very much.